Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. It's another beautiful Friday morning of the 7th of March 2025 that we are blessed to witness as well as meet here at Horizon TV. Thank you so much for always choosing Horizon TV. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Muslim Insight Show. My name is Zamzam Ahmed and my sign language interpreter is Ilhan Noor. So much has been happening around us. Let me start off with this before we even go to our topic of discussion today, is that Jamia Mosque Nairobi's 14th annual Quran competition is going on, taking place here at Jamia Mosque Nairobi, bringing together participants from 5 zones across Nairobi as well as other counties, namely Narok, Isiolo, Marsabit, Kajiado, and here they are in Nairobi. And our reporter Kasim Mustafa is on the ground and on intermission, or telling us, or rather giving us, is that he will be live on all social media platforms of Horizon TV immediately after this show. Now, you know, they say our ancestors or our elders also are very happy when they hear or when they see young women and young men coming together for a purposefully cause to support their fellows, to support the society, to support the communities that are in need. So today we are having this discussion on Student Support Program by AMUCK, and we are honored to host esteemed leaders of Association of Muslim Universities and Colleges in Kenya. In studio, I am joined by the chairperson of AMUCK, Abdul Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing this morning?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I bet your colleague is yet to join us in a few. He's called Khamis Mabruk, who is the Deputy Head of Publicity and Communication, AMUCK. Inshallah, he'll be here. He will join us later. Now, because we are talking about the support or the student support program, before we even go deep to this program, we're talking about this is an initiative of the AMUCK, right?
Yes.
So maybe for those people who only hears about AMUCK, the abbreviation is Association of Muslim Universities and Colleges in Kenya, right?
Yeah.
What does it entail? What is AMUCK all about? Give us a history background about AMUCK.
As you have started by mentioning, AMUCK is the Association of Muslims in Universities and Colleges in Kenya, an umbrella body which unites, which brings together the Muslim students from across the universities and colleges in the country. From the name, the Muslim students. So our main focus is to ensure that these Muslim students from various universities and colleges across the country are connected. We want to ensure that are united. We want to ensure that we have that diversity to an extent that the Muslim students in Pwani University can feel what their Muslim students in Garissa University are undergoing or are doing. So that is the main essence of AMUCK. And as the motto or as the slogan is, unity and diversity among the Muslim students in Kenya.
That is really amazing.
No.
And how many universities or colleges are in AMUCK?
Alhamdulillah, so far we are speaking of 38 registered institutions. That is a combination of both the universities and colleges in Kenya. And this number has literally, since January until today, we have seen a surge in the numbers. We were speaking of 34, we were speaking of 33 back then. Right now we are speaking of 38.
Wow, that is really amazing. MashaAllah. Now let's get deep to the student kitty. What's the purpose of the student kitty?
Allow me to start by, again, going back to the name, Association of Muslims in Universities and Colleges in Kenya. So what are these Muslim students doing at these universities and colleges? They are going to study. And not everyone who gets this opportunity to study can afford. Literally, not everyone can be in the same position like the others.
Yeah.
So with my colleagues, especially the academic department, because when you're speaking about AMUCK, we are speaking about various departments. We have the Da'wah department, we have the secretariat, we have the academic department, we have the media, the communication, and the publicity department. So my academic secretary, or the AMUC's academic secretary, our sister Zoena from Kenya Methodist in Meru, saw the need. And actually, when this idea was brought on the table, like, why don't we look at the critical problems that are facing these Muslim students now that our focus is mainly the Muslim students in various institutions? So the idea came, and we saw the need. Actually, in AMUCK, we are also, I mean, despite the fact that we are leaders in AMUCK, we are speaking of also leadership at our campus level. As I'm seated here, I'm also the chairperson of the Muslim Student Session University of Nairobi. So I know what my students are facing, the challenges that they are facing. With the many challenges they are facing, one major challenge, and that is the main reason why they are in school, is the financial constraint. So the AMUCK Students Kitty is a transformative initiative which aims to empower the students, or to assist with financial aid the students who are struggling to pay for their tuition fees, for their basic necessities, and for their accommodation fees. So we looked at the major problem that the Muslim students are facing in the university, and the first priority was the school fees, because a student might be, I mean, in a position to pay for the accommodation fees, because if you weigh the tuition fees and the accommodation fees is way cheaper. So if these students can be in a position to pay maybe 6,000 for the accommodation fees, yet he fails to pay 90,000 of the tuition fees, then the students won't even be in school, because what is taking the students in school is the education. So this financial aid to the needy students, actually my colleagues tell me don't call them needy, but just to ensure that people understand the whole concept, because people might think that we are supporting anyone that comes along. No, we ensure that the students that are being supported have proven to us that they really need that support. Yes. Yeah,
he's telling you not to call them needy, but let's just say for a lack of better word.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. And whatever you're saying, the financial constraint that you're talking about, this is something, or maybe it has led me to another question. I think you have answered it. What specific financial challenge is faced by Muslim students that the student kitty is aiming to address? And you've talked about the financial constraint.
Okay, I'll give you an example. If I'm in campus, I have three main things. I have my fees, I have my accommodation, I have my basic necessities.
Okay.
Yeah, so actually those three angles is what the student's kit is all about. But the first priority is the school fees. So we are speaking of students who cannot afford. I'll give you maybe an example. A student got a scholarship maybe, a student got a bursary, the bursary paid for him or her school fees, but of the accommodation fees, now that becomes another challenge. We have scenarios where, speaking of a revert, the parent paid, before he or she converted, the parent paid the tuition fees and the accommodation fees. The parent heard that this student amekuwa Muislamu, what happens? The basic necessity lacks, no food for the student. So what will this student do, especially the fact that people travel across the country to be in certain institutions? So you can see maybe a student travel all the way from Bungoma, a student traveling all the way from, let's say, the Rift Valley region to study in Nairobi. So what will these students do? And we know the fitna that is there in the university. So actually, those are the three angles that we are speaking about: the tuition fees, the accommodation fees, and the basic necessities, which is the, I can say, the upkeep money for the students, just to ensure that the student can afford a meal. Yes. That's
amazing. Now, you've mentioned especially the person who is in need the most. And you've given an example of the reverts. Once a person reverts, or rather change his religion to Islam, goes through a lot of challenges. And maybe to ask this, who is eligible to benefit from the student kitty? And maybe how do you identify who is in need the most?
Let me answer the first question, who is eligible?
Yeah.
Eligible for this student's kitty is any Muslim student from across any university and college in the country who has proven that he or she is under financial constraint. So our main focus here is that student who is already in the university or a college or a higher learning institution and has proven that he cannot continue sustaining him or herself. And how, the second question now, what is the criteria used? We usually reflect on a verse in the Quran that says, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَ بَيْنَهُمْ. They consult each other. Our main stage as AMUCK, we deal with the Muslim leadership. You realize that every institution has a group or has an association of the Muslim students. You speak of University of Nairobi, you speak of Msaun. You speak of TUK, you speak of Msatuk. You speak of Mount Kenya, you speak of Maku. These are institutions that are already there to bring the Muslims together at their institution level. So our main, how we start this process is that we deal with the leadership, especially the chairperson and the chair lady and the secretary general. We ask data from them.
Okay.
We tell them, this is what we have in place. Please provide for us whatever is needed to make this project a success.
Okay.
So after this is given to us, that is the raw data from them, we have a whole team, a subcommittee from AMUCK, which ensures that whatever has been provided aligns with the principles and the guidelines of this student's kitty. And for this student's kitty, which we are speaking about, it took the subcommittee 3 months just to put everything in order, just to ensure that everything that comes along with this student's kitty is well illustrated, well captured, and we can be in a position to defend any time called upon. So after receiving that data from the students, from the chairperson or the leadership of that institution, we review, and now the team looks at the requests that have been submitted, and now there is a criteria. I think that will be another question that you'll ask later, but there is a criteria of how we go about until we select that this student need to be supported by the students.
Okay. Let me take you back a little bit about the AMUCK. Talking about collaborating with the leaders in the MSs, like the Muslim Students Associations in every institutions or every colleges and universities. Maybe talk about the objectives. I know you've mentioned a few, but it's better that we know a bit deep of the reason as to why AMUCK was formed.
Okay, this is a familiar question. What I can say is that, and I'll give an example maybe to explain. University of Nairobi Muslim Student Association, the privileges that they have is not the same privileges that the Muslim student of Masai Mara University have. So what we are trying to do is that we want to empower these students and to bring them on an equal level.
Okay.
We are trying to bring that diversity. We are trying to ensure that anything that is done maybe at any institution is felt by these Muslim students, because we are speaking of one ummah.
Yeah.
We are speaking of being one nation as Muslims. I mean, we are brothers and sisters in Islam. So our main focus, Sasa, from that focus of the unity and diversity brings along many other things. We ensure that we have events or activity that students from across the universities can be part of it. And I'll give you an example of our main event that is usually the Dawah Conference.
Yeah.
In our Dawah Conference, that's an annual Dawah Conference that we do, and we did the second annual one last year. We ensure that that same invitation letter that reaches Zitek University in Nairobi can also reach Maseno University in Kisumu, just to fill them, just to make them feel that they are part of the broader Muslim student community. So we organize activities, and we are not biased. We are not looking at this institution. We ensure that so long as you are a Muslim student organization, you can feel that you are on board. We have another activity that is coming in Mombasa that we are organizing on 20th or 21st.
Okay.
That is the Inter-University and Colleges Quran competition,
Okay.
where we are giving a platform. We are providing that platform to the Muslim students from various universities and colleges in the country to compete on the same table on matters khair. So you see, the focus in AMUCK is to ensure that we have these Muslim students at an equal level. Yes, now from there activities come, from there programs come. That's why the students' kitty itself, you look at it, we are speaking of students from universities that maybe even some of the students are not aware. We are speaking of students from universities in the central region, students from northeastern region, students from the Nyanza region and the western region. So that is the whole idea. The whole idea, because each institution ikona its main objective. We cannot say that the KU Muslim fraternity, the Kenyatta University, will be in a position to support students in Maseno University or Jaramogi Oginga University. It can't be that way. So we need to have this body that will ensure that there is a link. We need to have this body that will ensure that there is that connectivity across the country. Yes.
And talking about awareness and people, or rather institutions, having different objectives. In the board member, in the board team, are there representatives from different institutions?
Yes. Actually, AMUCK, the structure, the leadership structure of AMUCK, we have regional representatives. This regional representative, you must come from that region. If we are speaking of Nyanza regional representative in AMUCK as an executive official, you must come from one of the institutions in Nyanza. That is directly. If you are speaking of a central regional representative, he must come from one of the institutions in Central. The current Central regional representative is from Dedan Kimathi University. So we ensure that these leadership positions are divided equally among the member institutions. And that is usually done every time when the tenure is done or is gone. Now the new team, or when the advertisements are made, the Shura board, you know, AMUCK, there is the Shura board. The Shura board ensures that we have a representative. So right now we are 20 executive officials. But out of these 20 executive officials, I can say that out of these 20 executive officials, 17 of them are coming from different institutions. 17. So you can see, even in the structure of leadership of AMUCK, we are speaking of 17 different universities in the country. Yes.
That is really amazing. Thank you so much, Abdul. He's the chairperson of AMUCK, Association of Muslims in Universities and Colleges in Kenya. Now back to the student kitty, about the collaborative effort. Let's talk about that one. How does the student kitty collaborate with other organizations or groups to gather funds? Like, for example, I believe today you have a fundraising iftar dinner.
Yes, and I must start by saying that because we are in the premises of Jamia Mosque. Jamia Mosque Committee, the administration has been so supportive to AMUCK. And I think we have even seen some events of AMUCK that are conducted in Jamia Multipurpose Hall. So we reach out to these established Muslim organizations that they have proved that they are ready to support. We are speaking of Takaful Insurance. We are speaking of Ummah Foundation. We are speaking of the Young Muslim Association. We are speaking of NAMLEF. We are speaking of these already established institutions. So anytime we have a project like this, our first contact persons are these institutions that are already there. And alhamdulillah, right now we are also speaking of Pembe Flour Mills being part of this transformative initiative to support the students' kitty. So like today we have organized that iftar fundraising. Number one, the main reason for that fundraising, because we don't expect much, because I mean, whatever itapatikana hapo, if you look at the budget, alhamdulillah, it might cater something. But the main aim for that is creating an awareness, because we need to make people aware that there is this problem, that we need to solve it as an ummah. So we try our level best, that the least we can do is just to inform a person that there is this program. So the person wants to support, we give him the necessary details, or the organization wants to support, they do support. But we organize these initiatives, especially the fundraising dinner that we're having today at Arabian Cuisine, is creating an awareness. And number two, we also have people who are business person, who are ready to support. So anytime we have this from the awareness I'm speaking about, there is usually a poster. You'll realize that the AMUCK Students Kitty, the poster was out since last year, just to attract, to create that awareness. So any Muslim or any person sees the poster and a chochote wants to donate, he or she donates.
Okay.
But our main target are the Muslim organization. We ensure that we maintain that good rapport, because if you don't maintain that good rapport, next time no one will even look at your face. So these Muslim institutions, we ensure that whatever we are doing is also in line with their objectives at the institution level. So we try our level best to maintain that, to maintain that professionalism, and alhamdulillah, we have seen institutions, we have seen organizations supporting us, and here we are right now. The little achievement we have made as AMUCK, it's through the support that we have been receiving from these organizations. Yeah.
Something I'm learning from your statement is that you say the poster was out since last year.
Yes.
And I believe, or rather what I've learned from your statement is that you don't just wake up and do something. It really needs planning. And maybe if I should ask you, or maybe I ask about it, about this student kitty, when did it start?
The students kitty, it was officially out last year around November.
Okay.
When now we made it public, because the semester last year started around September in most of the universities. So now that the semester imeanza, it's now we took time, September, October, November, to do the gathering and looking for this data that we are speaking about. So we made it open, we made the proposal out, we made everything out around November last year.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, talking about last year, how many students have you supported so far? Or it's starting?
It's starting, and I was expecting that question to fall under the challenges that we are facing.
Okay, okay, we'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
Maybe you give us the challenges that you have encountered as AMUCK, as the leadership structure, the leaders that are there in organizing this kind of fundraising iftar dinner.
Or specifically for this fundraising? What I can say, the main challenge that we have faced is bringing people on board. If an event is an event that one requires a card or one requires to pay something, becomes a very big challenge. Okay. Especially with our students. I mean, we know the capacity of our students, but at the same time, you look at how you want the event done. So the main challenge that we have faced in this is now bringing people on board to be part of this iftar dinner. Okay. Alhamdulillah, the hotel or the venue that is Arabian cuisine that we are doing this, the management there, wamekuwa very hospitable. Okay. And they have supported us to the fullest that they can, just to ensure that this event is done. So that's basically for this iftar, is the main challenge is now bringing people on board. We have been up and down selling cards. We were here even in Jamia during one of the Dhuhr times selling cards, creating that awareness. Today we are going to Masjid Ibrahim after Dhuhr to sell this card. So that is basically the main challenge. Okay,
let me cut you short. I want us to take a short break, because I believe that other than having a specific challenge to a specific thing, like there was a challenge and there still is challenge to maybe organizing such events. And still we have challenges, major challenges, or rather general challenges in maybe coming up with this initiative. Let's take a short break and we will be back with more on this and others, inshallah. So stay tuned.
Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam,
nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani?
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Kumfahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV. Pearls of Wisdom.
Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, O Allah, I take refuge in you from anxiety and sorrow, weakness and laziness, miserliness and cowardice, the burden of debts, and from being overpowered by men.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان. انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam. Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu alimfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
Thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik.
Ungana na mashekh wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back and thank you so much for keeping it at Horizon TV. This is our second segment of the Muslim Insight. We were talking about the AMUCK Student Support Program, but before we continue with our discussion, I want us to switch a bit to somebody online. Zuhura Aoko, who is the organizing secretary of Kisumu Muslim Ladies. We all know that during this precious month, during this Ramadan, we always tend to do something to support the society mostly. And we believe that sadaqah is something very important. It's something that can help us attain place in paradise, inshallah. So we have organizing secretary of Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization, Ustad Zuhura Aoko, online to talk about the organization of Kisumu Muslim Ladies. Do we have her, please? Mr. Producer, do we have Zuhura online? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think we are having a bit of technical issue, but we will be back to talk about the Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization. This is an organization, as you've heard, it's from Kisumu, and it entails Muslim ladies supporting each other during this precious time, during this time of the year, the month of Ramadan. I want us to proceed. Once we get her online, we are going to talk to her, inshallah. And like I said in the beginning, while we were starting the show, that we are going to have somebody else join us, and here he is with us, Khamis. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. What title do we give you, or do they give you?
I'm the Deputy Publicity of Association of Muslim University and Colleges in Kenya.
MashaAllah. It's really an honor to have you here. We were talking about the AMUCK Student Support Program, and we've looked about what AMUCK is all about, when it started, the reason as to why it started, who is eligible to benefit from the student kit, or that initiative that has been started by the AMUCK program, the AMUCK team. So we were, the last time we were talking, or the last thing we were talking about, was on the challenges encountered while organizing this kind of event. Now I want us to talk about the general challenge in organizing this, or rather coming up with this initiative. I don't know if the chairperson will help us with that one.
Or the main challenges.
Yeah, the challenges.
That we have faced specifically for this kitty. Number one is getting data, and verification of the data, because anytime someone comes, tells you they want to support you, everyone wants to be assisted. Actually, we usually say kila mtu ana shida. So what the main challenge that we got, that is why I mentioned that it took us 3 months just to verify and put this kitty in order, was the verification of the data. We wanted to ensure that whatever has been submitted is something legit and is something credible. So that was the first challenge that we got. And number two, the time frame. Actually, we had thought that this will be something that it will take us 1 month or 1.5 months that will be done. So, but now reaching out to these students, and I came to realize one thing, and in the process of this, is that even us as leaders at various institutions, we don't know our students.
So I'd like to cut you short, because I am told that we have Madam Zuhura Aoko, the organizing secretary, Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization, online to educate us about this organization, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Can you hear me well, Madam Zuhura?
Alhamdulillah.
Shukran, shukran. Thank you so much. It's really an honor having you here with us at Horizon TV. Naam, Bi Zuhura, pengine utueleze kuhusu shirika hili la Kisumu Muslim Ladies.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization is a community-based organization for Muslim ladies, which was formed on June 2022 by a group of 20 members. And the idea of having a group came when we realized that most of new Muslim reverts for Nyanza region were relapsing to Christianity because of lacking basic knowledge about Islam. And we are located in Kisumu town and operating in Nyanza and its environs.
Thank you so much, Bi Zuhura. Pengine ni kipi ambacho kiliweza kupelekea shirika hili kuweza kuangalia akina mama ama wanawake haswa walioweza kuingia katika dini ya Uislamu, yani wanawake ambao waliosilimu? Lengo lipi? Lengo lenu kuu ni lipi haswa?
Okay, what really inspired us was how these reverts were very eager to know about Islam after knowing the truth. And they were lacking someone to guide them in terms of religion. Honor. Yeah.
Okay, and from your experience, what are the most common reasons women in Nyanza region choose to revert to Islam?
The reasons include, the common reason are our acts of worship. Walipenda namna vile tunaswali.
Okay.
Alafu, the way we are giving charity and marriages. Unaona Waislamu wanaona kwamba wanapendana katika ndoa, so the way tunakaa kwenye marriage zetu huwa inavutia, ilikuwa inawavutia wa marivats, unaona. And they admire Muslim practices, IG, dressing code, and good character, the way we are doing our burials, and brotherhood, and the way we have love and unity. Yeah.
MashaAllah, that is really amazing. And what are the biggest challenges that they go through, and how does it affect their integration into the Muslim community? Yani,
okay, there are many challenges they face. One is neglect of family, just because they accept Islam.
Okay.
So family now stop providing basic needs, which including shelter, food, education, identity, and etc. Unajua wakati wamesilimu, utapata pengine mzazi atawambia, wewe sasa kwa vile umeingia kwa hiyo dini yenye hatuelewi, dini ya mashetani, sasa wewe sio mtu wetu tena. Kwa hivyo mimi kila kitu yangu nimekata, unaona?
Okay.
So wakipitia hizo challenges huwa inawa affect tena sana, kwa sababu unaona mtu amekolea pale kwa familia, alafu baadaye anaambiwa kwamba wewe sasa tukutaki, so kidogo ina affect kiasi. Yeah.
And what are the initiatives or programs that are in line that your organization has implemented to help new reverts adjust to their new faith? Yani mikakati zipi ambazo shirika hili la Kisumu Muslim Ladies imeweza kuweka ili kusaidia akina mama hawa ama wanawake hawa kuweza kuzoeana na dini yao mpya ambayo wamejiunga nayo?
Okay, kitu ya kwanza, we have different programs which includes, kwanza kitu ya kwanza tunawaongelesha, tunawaambia kwamba challenges naye mtapata, lakini so long as umesha accept Mwenyezi Mungu na ukajua kwamba Uislamu ndio dini yako ya haki, Allah atakuja kuwa protect. So tunawapatia elimu, and we have started a learning center for women reverts in Kisumu, where they undergo fundamental training on introduction about Islam for a period of 1 year. Alafu huwa tuna conduct seminars and symposiums for Muslim ladies living far away from Kisumu. Alafu tena tuko na dawa visits in remote area to propagate Islam, and we provide them with some basic needs which we can afford. Yeah.
Naam, tunazungumzia ama tumezungumzia changamoto waliosilimu wanapitia, na kama shirika pengine ni changamoto zipi ambazo mnaweza kupitia katika utendakazi wenu?
Changamoto ambayo sisi tunapitia
kama Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization.
Changamoto yapo, manake chochote ambaye kazi ya Mwenyezi Mungu haikuangi rahisi. Lazima tunapata changamoto, ambaye changamoto hizi ni moja ni lack of finance support to run our center. Alafu means of transport to reach out to those new rivers in remote areas. Alafu nyingine ni lack of economic empowerment to poor rivers and families.
Okay. Naam. Swali la mwisho pengine najua kwamba changamoto ni kitu ambacho lazima mtu apitie, na kunapokuwa na changamoto lazima kuwe na suluhisho. Kwa upande wako ni vipi ambavyo jamii ya Waislamu inaweza kuwasaidia kwa utendakazi wenu wa kuweza kuwafikia wengi waliosilimu katika mkoa huo wa Nyanza?
Exactly. They can support us by financially support.
Okay.
Providing learning materials like books, pens, because unaona kuna familia zingine ambaye zina changamoto, utapata watoto hawana vitu vya kuandika shule, vitabu hizo unaona.
Okay.
So alafu another support ni supporting us with clothes. Unajua wakisilimu, so unajua wako na mavazi zao hizo wenye wanavanga, so lazima tuwabadilishe. So tukipata buibui kwa wanawake, tupate mahijabu, tupate makanzu kwa wanaume, inshallah inakuwa ni support kubwa sana. Alafu donating learning equipment, e.g. sewing machine and computer. Kwa sababu unapata kuna wale wasichana ambaye hawaendi shule but tunawaleta huku kwenye center, na hatuwezi tukawacha tu kwamba wanasoma dini peke yake bila kupitia mambo kazi ya mikono. So hata wakitoka wanaweza pata nafasi ya kupata namna ya kujimudu kimaisha.
Naam.
Alafu supporting us with transport means. Like kama tunataka kwenda hiyo remote area, tunakwanga na changamoto sana ya maybe gari inabidi tunapanda public, inakuwa ni stress, inakuwa ni shida, vitu kama hizo unaona. Alafu kubwa ni starting our project for economic empowerment. Manake hii ndio sasa ni ya kudumu, itasaidia hata kama sisi tutaondoka, kuna wale nyuma yetu watapata kwamba ni kitu inaendelea na still wataendelea kusupport rivers.
Na kwa njia gani pengine kama
zaidi ni tunaomba wale ambao wanatusikiza, madada zetu na mandugu zetu, kwamba dua zao pia ni support kubwa sana kwetu. Watuombe dua ili tufanikishe kazi yetu. Hii si kazi rahisi, ni kazi ya ng'ang'ana, manake tunataka janna na tunataka ridha ya Mwenyezi Mungu, na tunataka Waislamu pia ambao wanaingia Uislamu wapate kile ambaye wametamani muda mrefu. Kwa hivyo dua ya Waislamu ni kubwa tena zaidi. Tunaomba kwa wale ambao wanatusikiza, tunaomba dua yao kwa sana.
La moja tu kwa ufupi, kuna naamini kwamba kuna pengine initiative ama program ambayo mmeweza kupanga mwezi wa Agosti inshallah. Kama waweza ukaguzia kidogo
program ambayo tumepanga.
Naam.
Kwa program ambayo tumepanga saizi mwezi wa 8 kwamba tunataka tuwakute rivers wote wa Nyanza. Tumepanga itakuwa Homa Bay County. Tupate kuwaongelesha, tupate kuwafundisha, tupate kuwaambia kila ambaye inatakikana inshallah. Kwa sasa hiyo ndio program yenye tuko nayo ambayo itakuwa ni mwezi wa 8, itaanza tarehe 15 mpaka tarehe 17 inshallah.
Shukran sana Bi Zuhura Aoko. Naamini kwamba wale wanaokusikiza ama wanaotutazama wamepata kusikia wito wenu au ombi lenu inshallah, na naamini kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu yupo nanyi, atawasaidia inshallah. Shukran, jazakumullahu khair.
Amin, alhamdulillah. sponsors.
Thank you so much. That was Zuhura Aoko, the organizing secretary of Kisumu Muslim Ladies Organization, seeking support from you guys. And you know, this precious time of the year, it's very important for us to help one another. Again, Sadaqah is not even entitled to only Ramadan time. You can also support even the other times. Now, let's get back to business, or rather get back to what we were discussing before on the AMUCK Student Support Program. We have Abdul Muhammad, the chairperson AMUCK, as well as Khamis Mabruk, the deputy head of of Publicity and Communication AMUCK. Thank you so much for coming here, guys. We were talking about the challenges you guys are encountering, you have encountered maybe in maintaining and running of this kitty. Let's come to you, Khamis Mabruk. Does the kitty support students beyond tuition fees? Or maybe to what extent does the student kitty support Muslim students?
Okay, let me answer that. First, the main aim of this student kitty was to cater for the student needs, specifically tuition fees. So we came to students who they really need more than that. You know, our aim as AMUCK is to support the student needs.
Yeah.
So the students who really need more than the fees. That is accommodation and maybe the upkeep for the students.
The basic necessities.
The basic necessities for the kids. So the goes beyond the student fees in the terms of the upkeep and the accommodation, because you know, a student, to make the student comfortable, you know, you can't pay for the student fees and leave him to live at home, or maybe the distance, or maybe to make him uncomfortable in his education. So the AMUCK student kitty goes beyond the tuition fees. That is the accommodation for the most needy students. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this one goes to you, Abdul, as the chairperson. How does the student, you know, there are so many critics of if you guys get this money, or if you guys get these funds, you might tend to use it for your beneficial, for your individual reasons. How does the student kitty ensure that it aligns with Islamic principles in its financial distribution?
And I must start by saying that anywhere there is money, anywhere there is wealth involved, there is always fitna.
Yeah.
And we are not perfect as officials, but we strive to ensure that we do, or we give it our best, that everything that we are doing in terms of this student's kitty is in line with the Islamic principles. How? Someone will ask how. We, first and foremost, I mean, the line that we are in is that we need to source these funds through the halal means. We need to ensure that we get these donations from a halal source. We cannot go to areas that I don't want to mention to tell them, please support the students' kitty. No, because we as AMUCK, we are entitled, or we are committed, or we are enshrined in the Islamic principles and the Islamic Sharia. So number one, we ensure that the source of this money is halal. Where we how we approach people, we try our level best, or actually we do it to an extent that the money that is coming on board is halal. Number two, we are looking at these students. I think I started by saying we are speaking of 36 students to benefit from this first cohort of the AMUCK students kitty. That doesn't mean that those are the only needy students who need to be paid off. We are speaking of around 18,000 Muslim students in various colleges and universities in the country. So we cannot say that out of the 17, 18, or the number, because that is the approximate data that we have as AMUCK, we cannot say that these 36 are the only needy students. So among these students ambao we have brought on board to benefit from this first cohort, we are looking at them to ensure that the priority is given to those who qualify for zakah. That is another way that we are using, because a donor will tell you, I have a contribution, but I want it to be a form of zakah. Ataka kuitoa kama zakah. So in this student's kit, is there any student who thinks qualify? Yes, there is this 1, 2, and 3. So we also prioritize that. Another thing, we try our level best, as I've said, to seek advisors. And I mentioned that we have the AMUCK Shura board, which we have some board of advisors, ambao ni sheikhs, some are scholars. So we try to ensure that before we make anything open, we consult. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَ بَيْنَهُم. We consult with them. What do you think about this? Are we in line with the Islamic principle? Because we don't want to lose it as we go on with this. So we have tried our level best. And one important thing, even in AMUCK, the leaders, we have students who are struggling. But what we are trying to do, we have made them, personally as the chairperson, have motivate them, given them the fact kwamba we are doing this for the sake of Allah, and let us not prioritize ourselves. Let us look at that Muslim who is somewhere in Kibabii University and cannot get an opportunity to expose or to create an awareness or to look for a donor to support him or her.
You know, sometimes they say the person who has benefited can be the perfect person to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. To give testament. Let me come to the publicity and communication department. Yes. What kind of fundraising efforts are undertaken to ensure that the sustainability and running of the kitty? Sorry.
Okay. What sustainable has been taken? First, we have reached out to some donors.
Okay.
There's a very packed proposal with every details of how we gather the information, how the student, we choose the student, or out of all the students, a proposal that is presented to the donors and sponsors. That's the first part. And the second part is the publicity. We run the posters on our social medias as AMUCK. This to help us from the people who will pass around the poster and anything. There's a pay bill there to support the student.
Okay.
And also, as the organizing of this AMUCK kitty, we have consistently made videos to show the people to tell the people that there are people who are needy there outside. There's a student in Laikipia University that needs this fees and cannot talk it out, does not have someone to tell. Okay. There are people, refugees, who need their fees. So we have shared stories to some people. We have reached out to the donors and possible the partnership with other people. Yeah, so those are among the ways we are trying to publicize the student kitty.
That's really amazing. Let's talk about the involvement of leaders, of student leaders and volunteers in the operation and management of the kitty.
Yes.
How are they involved? Because I believe that this initiative, or AMUCK, is an umbrella that consists of 38 institutions and universities and colleges. So how do you get involved, or how do you involve the student leaders and volunteers in the management of this student kitty?
Okay, first thing, when the student kitty came in board, we reached out to the chairpersons of the Muslim association leaders from all the universities to give us the data of the students who are needy. Because as the AMUCK leaders, you can't know about the students in Laikipia, in Kisumu. So the first involvement was the reaching out to the student leaders from the various universities associations.
Okay.
That was the first part to involve them in this. They gave us the data of the students in various universities. That's the first part, we involve the student leaders. The second part is we involve the student leaders we communicate them in maybe publicizing the student kitty, because it's for the help of the community and their people and our people. So the second part, we're involving the student leaders from various universities in this. And the third part, maybe the student leaders, we involve them maybe if they know a donor or they know someone who can support this, because we are all in this. AMUCK is represented by all Muslim leaders from various associations, so that we can help this community, we can help the needy students. Yeah, that's how.
It's amazing. Idea sharing, data sharing, publicizing of this initiative, mashallah, that is amazing. I see we have less time, but maybe to ask this one, because something that has been started, definitely there is a future plan about it, to continue with it or to end it. So the future plans to expand the scope of the student kitty to support other groups of students as the chairperson.
Okay, first and foremost, anytime someone asks me personally, what is the most thing that you fear as the chairperson right now of AMUCK, I tell them time frame.
Okay.
Because we are in AMUCK for a duration of time.
Yeah.
And we need to bring leaders on board after who will come after us, who share the same vision, who will ensure that this something is sustainable, because after my tenure as the chairperson, if someone else comes alafu aona kwamba it's not necessary, and with the shura and they consult each other and they say it's not necessary, it's done. So right now personally I had to say that if someone asks me what's the main challenge, I'll tell you I'm really afraid of time frame. But vitu vingine na ilmu al-ghaib we are not aware of. So this kitty, when we established it, we were looking for we are looking at the future. We are not just looking of supporting this year's students alone and it's done, because the students will always be there. Iwe ni leo, iwe ni kesho, iwe ni kesho kutwa. These students will always be there. And we will have students ambao they are underprivileged. So our main focus, our main vision is to ensure that we fully establish these students kitty to be part of AMUCK forever. As so long as AMUCK exists, then this students kitty should also exist. And right now we are trying to put everything, every single thing to ensure that it's something sustainable. We are speaking of opening a different account where this account, this bank account, is specifically to deal with the amount of money that will come from the students kitty, because we need to separate the operational funds and the funds to run the students kitty. Also, some of the visions that we have is to ensure that we have more students who are completing their studies. We have been able to visit, since we took over office, at least 7 institutions or 8 or 10. What we don't know, actually, what we don't know, because we are in Nairobi, unless you go to those places, you realize that these Muslim students need help. You know, I was so touched 2 weeks ago when we were in Maseno University and we met some leadership of the institutions in Nyanza, that is Jaramogi, KCA, Kisumu Campus, Rongo, Uzima University. And one of the chairperson told me that you are speaking about the students kitty and we are speaking about dates. We don't receive dates during Ramadan. So you can imagine if an institution hypati that basic necessity, the dates, and we know month of Ramadan, the month of dates. What about now the funds that you're speaking about? So if a student hawezi pata mtu amsaidie na tende, atapata mtu kumsaidia na 10,000, 15,000 to pay a school fees? No. So that is the gap we are filling as AMUCK. So the vision is to ensure that we have more students completing their education so that these students can be a source of empowerment to the generations that will come. As you have said, yule anayesaidika ndo anajua the impact of the help that he got. So yeye akisha kusaidika with these students kitty, it will always stick in his mind that at one particular time I was supported. And we are not saying that we don't want that famous AMUCK, because we usually reflect with that verse, say la nuridu minkum jazaan wala shukura. We are doing it for the sake of Allah, but we want this student to understand that the same way he was saved, he can be a source of an empowerment to another student ambaye yuko in his shoes back then. So inshallah, the main thing that we will also think is to put it as a Baytul Mal. You know, we are looking at the history of Islam during the time of Umar bin Khattab, where we had the Baytul Mal benefiting the Ummah. So we are looking to see how best can we align this students kitty as a Baytul Mal to forever be there.
We don't have a time. I wish we had more time to discuss this. I'm sorry. So thank you so much, guys, for coming here. It's really an important initiative. And like they said, or like how the chairperson said earlier when we started the show, that today they are going to have a fundraising iftar dinner. You are all welcomed, inshallah. To remind you again, we have the Jamia Mosque Nairobi 14th Annual Quran Competition that is going on, and it's taking place here at Jamia Mosque. That has brought, or rather is bringing together participants from 5 zones from across Nairobi, as well as 4 other counties that are Narok, Isiolo, Marsabit and Kajiado, inshallah. More details from our reporter Kasim Mustafa, who is on the ground, and this all will be aired live on our social media platform, inshallah. Thank you so much. I wish you a very blessed weekend. My name is Zamzam Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.